And Mike, I know we're getting down to the wire right now, correct, on this negotiations?
Well, we are quite a far way along. We've come a long way. We're probably in a baseball discussion, we're rounding third.
And in a football discussion,
We're on the 20-yard line. We're in the zone, 20-yard zone.
You're right there, and hopefully ready to score is what we're down to.
We have a target. It may be doable. It may be pushed a little, but our target now is the first council meeting in May, which is May 14th. The idea is to possibly have it filed and presented to council as a package, maybe May 14th would be the earliest, and that would make it totally public.
And looking at this, then that would describe, and I know we're only talking about the stadium at this point, it would be how much the city would be putting into this and how much the Jags would be paying. Is that kind of what these negotiations are down to, or how it would be paid for?
Well, there are many, many pieces. There's parking, there's security, there's finances, there's a construction schedule. There's many, many pieces to it besides just what the obligation will be to the Jaguars and what the obligation will be to the city. It's also the maintenance for 30 years, it's the capital for 30 years, it's surcharges for 30 years. All those things have to be resolved and agreed to. It's all part of the same package. So until everything is agreed to, nothing is agreed to.
Understand that completely. Are we still talking the same amount of money, basically the city's obligation and the JAG's obligation that we've heard in the past?
Well, we've never gone public with our shared responsibilities. The Jaguars originally, when they presented to the community a year or two ago, their concept, they had some dollar illustrations, but we haven't discussed that outside of negotiations. So I can't, provide that at this point. But I think it's not going to be too far outside where it was originally presented, but it's going to be very different.
It's a substantial amount of money.
It's a substantial amount of money on both sides. It's a city-owned building that the Jaguars will agree to invest in, and it's a city-owned building that the city will agree to invest in if an agreement is reached.
Mike, you've heard on the news what happened in Kansas City. Is that a concern here that, hey, maybe we would have to put this on, or maybe we should put this on a referendum?
Well, I think Kansas City was required to put it on a referendum where they're structured. There are many things that the statutes and the ordinances, Florida statutes and city ordinances, list as requirements to go to referendum on. The things that aren't listed, then you don't necessarily go to referendum on. The problem with going to referendum on things is you don't know when to stop, because basically any council member, any mayor on any issue can say, well, let's ask the people, let's do, but it is a representative government. We live in a representative republic, not a democracy, but the representatives make many decisions on finance, and ultimately the council will decide whether we do this or not. So I don't think a referendum is in the future, although we've had many referendums and will in the future on financial issues, but this one I don't see going that way.
And you see this, again, as we've said in the past, you think once this goes to council and they pass it, we could see what happened? Is there a timeline or anything you could maybe pass on if it gets there in May?
Well, if we are able to present in May, it's normally a 6 to 8 week process through council. Could take longer. It's going to be 400 or 500 pages, so it could take longer than that. But the normal is about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. But after that, it's not for signature of the mayor. The council can approve it. And normally after council approves, the mayor signs. Mayor won't sign this after council approves. We have to wait for the NFL also to agree. And right now that schedule is for months away. The NFL owners scheduled a meeting in May, which we won't make. And then their next scheduled meeting is in October. So unless they call a special meeting of the owners to decide if they approve it or not, 75% of the owners have to approve every lease throughout the whole league. So we're not unique. So the idea now is that it may be October before the NFL ultimately approves it, and then it would be ready for signature. But we won't sign it until the NFL also agrees. So it's the Jaguars, the NFL, the mayor, city council, and the public at large all basically have an opportunity to see it, understand it, and feel whether they think it's a good thing or not.
Good. Randy, you usually pretty good. Are you good? Anything I didn't ask you that
No, just that it's gone well. I think, I've continued to say this, I believe wholeheartedly that the Jaguars want to stay here, and the city would like them to stay here, and we're gonna present a very fair opportunity for the council to discuss and debate on. But we're not taking advantage of them, and we believe they're not taking advantage of us. So it'll be a fair document. Hopefully it's perceived to be fair.
Good, very good. He's just gonna, I know you're not